Hello everyone and welcome to Werven's World. Today I would like to give you 5 more advanced tips on Galactic Civilizations 3. These tips will be a bit more advanced than in my previous video. However, they're not like super advanced tips that will make you immediately win the game. I won't go into optimal build orders and all that kind of stuff. I will basically just explore some game mechanics that the game is not immediately clear about, so the game doesn't really tell you that those mechanics exist. So I thought I would talk about those so that you basically get more options at your disposal if you hadn't heard about them yet. So let's get started. So number 1 is regarding your starbases. So you probably already know that you can use starbases in order to do a lot of different things. For example, here I have a resource of Promethean and a resource of Durentium, and I put a starbase here and I gave it the mining ring, which basically allows it to mine these strategic resources. You can see the line here. So I've got Promethean and Durentium, and they just get added to my a box of special resources. As you can see here, there is no Promethean anymore because I'm actually using one of these resources already. However, these starbases, they basically can still be upgraded. It's not just that you build a starbase and then you can forget about it. For example, here is a starbase that is I gave it the Xenoarchaeology lab, which allows it to study any precursor relic and ascension gate. So it is actually studying this relic, and that means that my colonies get 10% more manufacturing. However, it's not a finished lab in a sense, because I could put all these things on it still. However, I can't do that now, because for that you need construction points. As you can see here, there is a request constructor button. I can click on that. For example, that actually means that now it asks for a constructor to come. If you don't have any constructors, it just queues one for you as well. There is one in construction at the moment, but I already put a constructor here to show you, so I'll just end my turn and then I can put it there. So you need a ship that has special construct starbase. Either you make it yourself or you build like a constructor in case of the Terrans. Put it there, and now when I double click on it, I have one available constructor. So now I can upgrade it again. So let's see, for example, well, in this case, I mean, this is one of the campaign games I basically already won, so now it doesn't really matter anymore. But let's say I would like it to scan better, for example. Then I can put on perimeter scanners, and it has a better scanner range. Because now, as you can see, it doesn't see so very far. I don't know if you can see it here. Sensor range 4. So that's, I put on the grid with G, 1, 2, 3, 4. So here, this is the scanner range. So if I now put perimeter scanners on it, then the next turn, I'll just put something in the shipyard because it asked me to. I'll just make another constructor. Idle ship, you can pass. There, now I can end the turn. So now it has 4 scanner range. Press turn. Oh, sorry, this one. So now it actually has way more scanner range. So that's how you can keep upgrading your starbase, and you can see all the options that you have for it. For example, I can make it better. I can make it better using a military ring. I can actually make it mine resources if I would have resources close by to mine. Actually, I do have antimatter here. So if I now put another constructor in it, I can actually also mine this antimatter. Why not do that? I'll just do that very quickly. There we go, mining ring built. There, so now it has better scanning range. It can scan, it can study this manufacturing relic, and the next turn it will be and the next turn it will be able to mine this antimatter. There, you see? So this is the constructor that we actually requested earlier that started flying here. So that's how you upgrade starbases. So they're not just a one-off thing. You can keep upgrading them and making them better. Number 2 is about your shipyard. So when you build a shipyard on a planet, there, shipyard, then it gets built next to your planet, which is something new from Galactic Civilization 2, because then it was basically just on your planet. Now it's a separate entity. As you might know, you can add sponsors to them. So by the edit sponsor thing here, and then you can basically add other planets, and they will give part of their manufacturing to your shipyard in order to build ships faster. However, there is a problem that there is a thing called distance decay. So the further away the planet is that you assigned as a sponsor, you can have a maximum of 5. The further it is away from that planet, the less manufacturing you get. For example, here I'm a bit away from the planet Safety and from Beachhead, and I get a -12 and -13%. Horizon is even further, and I get a -30%. So I can show you where it is. So here's my home planet, and Horizon is all the way over there, and you can see this very faint white line going there. That means that it's the sponsor of the shipyard, and because it's so far away, I only get 70% of the manufacturing that it could give me. So luckily we can change that a little bit, because the shipyard is not a stationary thing necessarily. You can actually unanchor it. So when you click on unanchor, you can now say, hey, I want to be closer to, for example, Beachhead and Horizon at the expense of here a planet called Safety. Because here at the moment I don't have any distance decay from Archaea, and that will take a while to get into effect. You can go a couple of hexes without getting any distance decay. So let's say I would go here. I'll just do that quickly. It only has a movement of 1. There. Let's see. Now we actually have still a 0% distance decay. But from Beachhead, we only have -7, which was -12 before, -13. And from Horizon, we only have -21%, which was 30 before. So now, by moving our shipyard, we actually get way more production in, and we can construct our ships faster. So this is really good. You can anchor it again by pressing anchor. The only problem is that you shouldn't go overboard with this in a sense. Like if you just put it in the middle of deep space, you have to also put a fleet there or something like that to defend it, because of course it's way easier for enemies to take it over if you don't have it next to your planets or next to a fleet, for example. So be careful, but it's a very handy thing to know that shipyards are actually a mobile entity. 3 is a really quick tip. I wasn't sure if I should include it because I'm not sure how advanced it is, but I saw some discussion on the topic, so I thought I would include it. And that's basically the difference between quick battle and view battle. There should not be any difference between quick battle and view battle. View battle is just for yourself, in a sense, to find out whether your tactics work or not, because you cannot influence the battle at all in a... I'll zoom out because there's like this annoying squeaking noise. You cannot influence the battle at all while the battle is raging. However, all the choices you made beforehand, basically which class is your ship, which weapons did you put on, how many thrusters did you put on, all that kind of stuff adds into whether you will win a battle or not. However, during the battle you can't do anything. So if you do quick battle, you basically just immediately get the results, and if you do view battle, you see why you got those results. But unlike, for example, games like let's say Age of Wonders or Endless Space or something, where you can actually influence the outcome of a battle by playing it yourself, here it doesn't have any effect whatsoever. Number 4 is influence. So influence is actually something that basically means that you influence other cultures in order to join you. Influence is shown by this kind of like line here. That's kind of where my influence extends here, this blue area, and they have like this red. But there's also some overlap. For example, if you mouse over an area, Here, for example. No. There we go. You shouldn't have anything selected, which I had. Then you can see that I have a 53% influence and they have a 47% influence. Once influence extends over, for example, your colony, then it gets bad because your people will slowly be rebelling against you because they want to maybe join the other faction. So you need to spend points in, for example, diplomacy, and all those points you put in there, you can't put in other things, for example, in military. So it's a great way of kind of pressuring other cultures. So, for example, oh, I'm not allowed to do that because of that guy there. I should do it on the other side. There we go. I could put in a culture ring. Dedicate starbase to help spreading your influence through the galaxy. So now it is a culture ring. I can even make it into a cultural forum if I request a constructor, so that will be built and will arrive there at some point. So as you can see here, at the moment the approval is 78. And here at the moment we've got 15% influence. So that's +1. Yeah, so 1 second, sorry. Keep having all these things that get built. So as you can see here, my influence points are 30.3 and it's 16%. And the next turn it's 31, is also 16%. And then it's 32, which is 17%. So here my influence growth is +1 and a little bit extra as well. So slowly but steadily I'm exercising my influence on this planet. It will take a long time because I don't have a very strong starbase at the moment. And you can also research this. So I'll just keep ending my turn until I can show what the effect is. So as you can see, I'm really moving the border of my influence. And you can see that by hovering over it, you can see the values. Here I have the majority, 53, and here I don't have the majority yet. I have 186. So I have my star bases here. I've completely upgraded them with cultural influence upgrades. So as you can see here in the tech tree, I've got all this cultural stuff researched now, just to show what it does. So now when I press enter a couple of times, you will see the border moving. So now I've got 192, they have 200. Oh, new research. Almost. 194, so I think in 2 turns. 197. Oh, more research. There, now I kind of got this little square as well. So slowly but steadily I'll be going to this planet. There, it's a very long process, of course. Like, this game plays over very, very many turns, and now I'm just showing it very quickly, so just skipping all my turns. But now it's in my influence, and as you can see now, the colony is in 0% in rebellion. So slowly but steadily I'll try to persuade him to join me. Yeah, so unfortunately you can't take over this planet in the campaign, it seems. I've got like all the influence around the planet, and normally they would go in rebellion, but here they stay in 0% rebellion. I'm not entirely sure if that's a bug or if it's actually like part of the mission that I really have to eradicate this planet. Because when I invade this planet, I immediately win this part of the campaign. So that's a bit unfortunate that I can't show that now. I would have to start a new game and completely rebuild everything. But at least that's how you do influence. So it's a long-term process in a sense, but it's also fairly safe as long as you can defend all your star bases and planets. Then you can kind of slowly take over planets using influence. So yeah, that's how it works. Number 5 is how to use the ship designer to full effect. I've seen some complaints on the forums that people basically say, hey, I can't really say what my ships are supposed to do. For example, if I make a missile frigate, then I would like the missile frigate to kind of kite the enemies, right? Like to stay away as much as possible and shoot missiles. However, basically, the ships kind of just crash into each other, so they just move forward and shoot missiles. However, there are things you can do. You can see there, you can save things as different battle roles. So you can read these, for example, the assault here. They just fly forward and they try to kill other escorts, and if there's no escorts available, they will shoot at capital ships. Interceptors will shoot at guardians and then at escorts, and so they all have a bit of their own behavior. However, you can really adjust what a ship can do, for example, by giving them thrusters or not. So let's say I make a very, very armored ship. So I would put on like a lot of hull plating, a very ugly ship. There, just a lot of armor, and then I could put a lot of shield on it and point defense and all that kind of stuff, like make it a tank. And then I would put a lot of thrusters on it. There. It would be a fairly fast ship, right? I mean, now it's not a good ship, don't get me wrong. This is just, in a sense, a fairly tanky ship. I should have put some shields on it as well, though. So I could put that as, maybe if I should also put some weapons on, but I could put that, for example, as an assault that would dive head first, and then that would also mean that this ship would be the first one that would get into the targeting reticles of the enemy, right? So if I instead would make another ship, like for example only with missiles, let's see, weapons, yeah, I would just give it like a ton of missile things, but I wouldn't give it there. I'm sure you can make it much more pretty and much more effective as well, because now it doesn't have any armor and stuff, but now it has a fair amount of missiles. So if I don't give it any thrusters, of course that means that it's less good at getting fast into contact with the enemy. So in that sense, while you can't really say the ship should kite another ship, you can at least make sure that they can't fly as fast. And that means that other ships in your team, in your fleet, will arrive first, and they will be the ones that get shot at, and they have time to kill the enemies that might kill this missile frigate. And in the meantime, this frigate, while being very slow, can shoot missiles. So that's how you can use a ship designer to still have a fair amount of control over the battle, because, as I said earlier, you don't have any direct control of the battle. It's basically all the choices you made before, and fleet composition, and what kind of AI behavior you give, which battle role you give the ship, and what you put on it. That really influences the outcome of the battle. So yeah, these were 5, well, I'm not sure if you can call them advanced tips, but at least they're a bit more complicated than my first 5 beginner tips. So yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope you found it useful, and see you next time.